So let me introduce you to the concept of ideological bubble. Basically, your friends, your classmates, the people in your neighborhood, you all have very similar backgrounds and you think in very similar ways. And because of this, your own ideas, your own beliefs are reflected back to you. But growth of any form requires change. To grow your personality, you need to be able to see things from different perspectives. And for that, you have to talk to a lot of people with different backgrounds. Ideally, the best case scenario is that you travel the world and you meet a lot of people from different cultures. The kind of life people live in Tokyo, the biggest city of Japan, is much different compared to the kind of life people live in countryside of Japan. And even that is so much different compared to the kind of life people live in deserts of Egypt or the jungles of Africa. The more you expose yourself to new environments, the more you grow. I understand that it is easier said than done. Traveling requires a lot of money, it requires a lot of time. You need friends who also want to travel. To remove the last condition, you can go to solo trips. Solo trips grow you even more because there is no one who is going to support you. You are supposed to figure out all the things by yourself. So, if it is not impossible for you, go to trips as frequently as you possibly can. So, traveling was the first and the fastest technique to grow your personality. Before talking about the next technique, I also do coaching calls on how to grow your personality, how to become a better, healthier human being. If you are interested, you can check the description. The next technique is talking to all sorts of people. This again goes back to the concept of ideological bubble. Talking to people who are different than you unlocks new perspectives. And to put this idea on steroids, talk to everyone. Starting from that extroverted social girl to that introverted nerdy guy like you. Talk to everyone. And when I say talk, I mean a proper one to one conversation. Now, for most introverts like you and me, talking to anyone who is not your close friend is going to be quite difficult. There is a sort of psychological barrier that you need to overcome. But like I said before, growth of any form requires change. It is because it is difficult, it is going to grow your personality. If you can talk to anyone without hesitation, if you can express yourself more clearly, you know how to stand up for yourself, then that is powerful. To get started, I can tell you a simple technique that I use all the time to make new friends. And this technique has never failed even once. So when you see someone you want to be friends with, just find some excuse to talk to that person. It can be something very small, it doesn't matter. Just make some excuse to talk to that person. The next time you see the same person, make eye contact and smile. It doesn't matter if the person remembers you or not, just do it. Every time you see that person, smile towards that person and say hi. Eventually, at some point, when you see that person is alone and bored, go and approach that person and start some conversation. It is probably the safest way to talk to anyone, and the more you do it, the more natural you become with this and the less awkward it feels. If you do this only for one or two people, it feels like you are giving that person a special treatment. But if you do this for a lot of people, it feels natural. Now, people often say that if you are an introvert, you are an introvert. There is no need to change that. But for a lot of introverts, even though they are so talented, they cannot express themselves very clearly. Ideally, you should be comfortable being alone, but you should also be fully capable of socializing and expressing yourself. It is like a perfect combination of introvert and extrovert. The next thing is having a purpose. You can have amazing communication skills on the surface, but if you don't have a purpose in your life, you are an empty vessel, and empty vessels make the most noise. I would go as far as to say that it is impossible to have a personality without having a purpose, because personality is the combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. It is something that separates you, something that makes you unique, and without a purpose, you are directionless. You are maybe above average in a few things, but you are not special. You are not unique. Growing some sort of talent, something that only you can do, it gives you value. Whenever the people around you want help with something related to your purpose, they will come to you. And how to find your purpose? Now, the self improvement community has overcomplicated this a lot, but basically, ask yourself, what did you enjoy as a child? For me, I used to love stars. I used to love astronomy. I would come home from school, I would go to YouTube, and I would look at the videos of how black holes are formed, of supernovas, of galaxies, the size of the universe, aliens, the conspiracy theories. A lot of times I would look at the stars and think that can be a whole world, a whole galaxy out there. For a while, it was my dream to become an astronaut. I wanted to go to space. Another interest I had was mathematics. I was very good at it. I used to give a lot of extra exams, things like mathematics Olympiads, and I used to win trophies and medals in these exams. At some point, I reached to a level where my teachers were asking doubts to me because they could not solve a problem, but I could. The same with science. Mathematics and science both are connected. I used to love both of them. I also used to love teaching. I remember in my school there used to be a bully, the bad guy. He used to have his own gang of guys and he used to get into fights with other gangs. One day, me and him, the two opposite people, were sitting together on the same bench. I don't remember the exact conversation we had, but something happened and I ended up teaching mathematics to him. And he was very nice to me after that. He told me that whenever I face some problem, just to contact him. By the end of my school life, everyone got very serious about studying. They wanted to go into a good college, and my value increased significantly. Sometimes, after all the lectures ended, me and my group of friends, sometimes it would be 2 people, sometimes 20 people, we would stay after the class and I would teach them mathematics. And those were some of the best memories I had of school days. I also used to love psychology. There was this TV show called The Brain Games, and that show was my first introduction to psychology. It was all about how the human brain works, the psychological biases, how easy it is to fool people, things like reading body language. Then I started watching anime. I would see these main characters being so smart, trying to read people, trying to predict the future, and I wanted to become like that. I started reading books on psychology, and that was probably the first time I read any book on self improvement. So make a list of all the things you used to love as a kid, try those things again, and then think which one of these can you do forever? And congratulations, you have a purpose. If you want to know how to become more attractive without changing anything about your looks, check out this video. Check the description if you want me to help you one to one. I do coaching calls, so check out that. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.